So if everyone is on your mark, get set, go, I'm going to call our meeting of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Board, the meeting to order. This is Tuesday, August 25th. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We'll go immediately to our agenda. Having established a quorum, I'll call for public comment, and under this venue, it's strange to do that, but we're required to do it. So I will call for any public comment for anyone that might be zooming in on us to make a comment on any items that's not on the agenda. Once we get into the agenda, that we will take public comment on each item if appropriate. Do not hear any public comment. So we will go to item number 3, election of the vice chair. And, you know, any board member can nominate someone for vice chair. I'm as chairman, I'm going to take the prerogative to make the first nomination, and I would like to nominate John Mark Hogue as vice chairman of the board. Do I hear any other nominations?
Move accepted by acclamation.
Okay, Mr. Brown makes the motion that we accept this nomination by acclamation. Any second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Tony seconds. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand. I think they've got a screen. They can see us. We're raising our hand. Cherie, are we all? Is this unanimous?
Give me a second and let me scroll through.
Okay.
Can everybody keep your hands up? Everybody who's
Hands
voting
up.
in favor?
Hands up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, all in favor.
Okay, all in favor, so it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone, for that. I know this is awkward, but we're doing the best we can. Okay, so next on the agenda is, and thank you, Stephen, for that motion. Okay, we'll go to item number 4, consideration of approving the minutes from our June 23rd board meeting. And all of you should have a copy of that in front of you, our own hand. Do we have any comments or corrections with regard to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, then I'm going to ask for a motion to approve those board minutes, please.
So moved.
Okay, Michael makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second, John Mark.
Okay, we have a second by John Mark. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, Mr. James, your financial report.
Okay, let me get my screen shared here. Okay, hopefully you're seeing financial report on your screen now.
LSC Roman numeral number. There we go. We got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and this normal finance report that you've seen, this is as of July 31st, 2020.
John, I'm sorry. Can we hold on a minute? I'm not seeing it on YouTube. It's not showing up on YouTube yet. I thought it would have popped up, but it's not. I just let Ray know.
Okay.
It should be on YouTube. It's on mine. You might want to refresh.
Okay, I'll try. Well, as long as you're seeing it, we're good. Then go ahead.
Okay. Again, this is the financial report as of July 31st, 2020. For the North Zone, you can see the numbers there in front of you. We started out about 1.7 million. Our anticipated revenue of about 680,000. And then below that, we showed the already committed funds for private incentives, committed Chadburn Street project, then a little bit left for streetscape maintenance, in that area, and then a public improvement set aside, which is available for spending, but it can only be used for public improvements. And the next item we'll talk about may address that a little bit as well. And then our normal operating expenses for electricity and water for the landscape irrigation, those kinds of things, leaving us with an available balance currently of $827,687. And then similarly for the south zone, the beginning zone balance about 400,000 with a little under 400,000 anticipated revenue. The private incentives and committed to the Chadburn Street project take up most of that, again, with a little bit of streetscape maintenance and operating expenses, leaving us in the south zone right now at just under $2,000 available. Our year end does end September, and so October 1st, we'll have a new year's worth of funding projected. And so as we get closer to that, hopefully we'll have some estimates for you on what to expect. And I think Shannon may later talk about the next cycle that'll be upcoming. But obviously, if we go back to the north, we do have quite a bit of funding. So we're hoping North Zone property owners will strongly consider applying for some of those incentives. We currently don't have a lot in the south, but we should expect probably in that $400,000 range of anticipated revenue for the following year, and so should have somewhere between 350 to 400,000 available for those. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Tell Sarah, thank you very much.
Okay, board members, do you have any questions regarding our financial report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to Roman numeral 6. Discussion and direction on the sidewalk project in the vicinity of Martin Luther King from 17th Street to 19th Street. And that, John, is that you or is it?
Yes, that is me again. I've got to
Okay.
stop sharing that screen so I can pull up a different screen.
All right.
Okay, and so this, as I mentioned on the financial report, there are some funds available that have to be used for public improvement projects. So like street lights, sidewalks, street improvements, those kinds of things. And so we have a possible project that we'd like to bring to you. Martin Luther King from 17th to 19th. We're proposing a possible sidewalk project. It is related to a new proposed bus transit shelter. And I'll show you some more specifics on the next slides. But we're looking for your direction. We'd like to move forward, but at this point, we haven't even developed an estimate other than this ballpark estimate of 25,000, but that could vary quite a bit. That's just based on a per linear foot of sidewalk that the average of projects the city has done over the last few years. So it could be a little less than that. It could be a little more once we get into the details of exactly what the project is. So, but before we got into any detailed estimates or even talking to engineers, we wanted to make sure this was something you all were comfortable with. So this is just kind of an overview map. You can see MLK just off of Bryant there. Between 17th and 18th Street is where this bus shelter will be. That's an existing bus route. But as you can see here, there's really nothing there for people waiting for the bus. And so at this location, at this corner, the transit group has already purchased a number of bus shelters for around town, but this is one that happens to be in the North TIRZ area. And so the only thing they have funding for at this point is to put the shelter in place. And so what we're proposing is to connect that shelter to the surrounding area with sidewalks. And you'll see it better in a second, but before we get off of this screen, I wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right back at back in here, there is an existing sidewalk. And that shows better on this map, but this shows everything in yellow is an existing sidewalk. And this blue star is the location of that bus transit shelter. And as you can see, there's already a little bit of sidewalk on that side of the street at MLK, and then it wraps around on 17th. At a minimum, what we're looking at is continuing this existing sidewalk down to 18th Street, crossing 18th and going to 19th. And you'll see again on a zoom in just a second, but this just shows that that whole intersection has been built with not only these yellow sidewalks you see, but that has crosswalks and curb ramps. And then, so that intersection is fully ADA compliant for wheelchairs and others like that. And so we would be connecting down to that intersection from the bus stop. Here's a little bit closer look. Again, right off the bottom of the screen here is where the bus stop will go. This whole intersection has crosswalks, sidewalks. This sidewalk on the west side of Martin Luther King goes all the way from the freeway frontage road all the way up to 29th Street. But on the the east side of Martin Luther King, there's some hit or miss sidewalks, but not a whole lot. And again, this sidewalk on the one side of the street is good for travel throughout the area. But what we were looking at is being able to connect this bus stop back to this intersection. That way, if you're not familiar, there's a grocery store here, the movie theater is up there. And so that just gives a little more connectivity for folks on foot. And as we know, people who are taking the bus are likely going to be traveling by foot most of the time. So getting them safely to that bus stop without having to walk in the street is part of the goal of this. And then we would, as I said, we would continue it down through this site where the bus stop is going to be located and connect to this existing sidewalk that goes from the alley down to 17. We would probably, as part of the project, take a look at that. If any of that sidewalk needs repair, we could do that at the same time. So it's really like a 2-block stretch. We thought about, taking that maybe farther, but at this point, we were really just looking at connectivity for that bus shelter. So again, it's the same slide you saw before, but I wanted to end just with the summary there. All we're really looking for today is you're okay that, yeah, this is something we want to put some time and effort into moving forward on. And of course, this will, once we have actual costs and are ready to move forward, we would bring this back to you for an actual authorization for funding. So you're not authorizing any expenditures at this point, just for staff to continue to look into this a little more. So with that, I'd happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so John, this funding would come out of the north zone, is that right?
That's correct.
And again, remind me, looking at the financial report, what line item is this? Streetscape maintenance has $2,900 in it. Public improvements set aside has a lot of money, has $103,000.
That's likely where it would come out of, is that $103,000, because like I said, that has to be used for public improvements like sidewalks or street lights or those sorts of things. So it's definitely available and set aside for this type of project.
Okay.
John, I have a couple of questions. How wide is the sidewalk going to be?
Well, again, we're just now looking into it. The minimum sidewalks we build are 4 feet.
Right.
We're trying to get 5-foot sidewalks. That's really the current standard. If you look in the guidelines and the manuals, 5 foot is a standard sidewalk. Right. But 4 foot is in an area where we may not have enough room for a 5-foot sidewalk, we can go to 4 feet. And so that'll be part of the design process once we move forward.
Okay.
Is deciding.
How many linear feet of sidewalk do you anticipate approximately?
My guesstimate was about 500 feet.
500? Just a minute. At $50 a foot, that seems awful high.
Well, that is a good average that we've used. Again, it's based on projects that the city has done over the last few years.
Really?
But remember, that includes, especially for a small project like this, that includes all the mobilization for the contractors. It also includes the things like curb ramps at the intersections, which are more expensive. So the actual concrete sidewalk itself is probably less than that. But once you add in the more expensive pieces like the curb ramps at the intersections, maybe crosswalks.
Sidewalk, 4-foot sidewalk, not. And I just built some, about 16 to 17 bucks a foot. So that's why I was questioning.
Yeah, and that's probably in the ballpark for the actual pouring of the concrete for the sidewalk itself. But again, once that number would include the design as well
That's a
as things like,
6-inch thick, 4-foot sidewalk, right?
you know, I,
4 inches or 6 inches?
actually, I'm not sure. It would,
Okay.
the city has a standard for sidewalks in the public street. And so it would
Okay.
meet that standard. I just off the top of my head don't know what that thickness is.
All right. Well, we can determine that later when you bring back the final cost and the engineering estimate, but that just seems awful high right now.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so John, what do you need from us today? A motion to proceed from our vantage point, or just a statement that we encourage you to proceed with it, or what do you need?
Either way, just, everybody saying, yeah, that sounds good, or even a formal motion would work as well.
Well, let's go ahead and if the board members will, with your approval, let's go ahead and have a formal motion in a second so we can give John a little impetus to help him proceed with this.
I move we authorize the staff to bring back final plans and specifications and costs at a later time to be determined by the staff and the board.
All right, Stephen, that's a good motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, John. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, item number 7. We need to review and approve the dates for the first incentive award cycle for fiscal year 2021. And I guess Shannon will do this.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me get it in presentation mode. Okay, so as you might recall, typically around this time of year, we go ahead and decide on the first window cycle for fiscal year or the upcoming fiscal year. So in this case, it would be fiscal year 2021. So this is going to be the cycle dates that the staff recommends for the first cycle for fiscal year 2021. And this is going to be both for the north and the south zones. And as you probably recall, the reason that we typically do it around this time of year, especially for the south, is this is when the funds will replenish. So this is the typical cycle that we've been using for the past 3 years. So we're recommending that the window cycle opens on November 2nd of 2020. It will close January 21st of 2021, which would be, I believe, a Friday. Of course, we would bring the projects to you all at the January 2021 board meeting and then take those recommendations from you all to the city council in February of 2021. So this is the staff recommended cycle for the first fiscal year or the first cycle for fiscal year 2021.
I have a question. Why the beginning date of November 2nd? Why can't it not be earlier?
Typically, again, this is when the funds will replenish for the South Zone. And you might recall that usually we're only able to have one South cycle per year because as soon as that first cycle opens, it depletes the funds for that entire year. So we're only able to open it around this time just because that's when the funds will replenish for the South Zone, for both zones, actually.
Okay. And this is what we've historically done. This is the dates that we use, basically.
Yes, sir. This is really the earliest that we can open it up as soon as those funds replenish. So this is the cycle that we've used for the past 3 years.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks fine to me. Do I have any comments from board members? Do you need a motion, Shannon, or do we just say go forward?
Yes, I would need a motion, please.
All right, we need a motion, please, to approve this
So
cycle.
John Mark.
Who was that?
John
John
Mark.
Mark makes, John Mark makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from whom?
Mike.
Mike. Okay, Mike, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Okay, Shannon, update and discussion on projects in progress.
Okay, so I wanted to give you all an update on a couple of projects that have been completed since the last meeting date, as well as give you a list of the current projects in progress for both the north and the south zones. So my apologies for the lack of clarity in this picture, but this is the San Angelo Autism Center, which was a project that was approved out in the south zone. They were approved for landscaping incentives. So this is what the property looked like prior to the improvements. And here is what it looks like after the improvements.
Very nice.
Very good.
And I actually received a letter from the Autism Center about 10 minutes ago. Apparently they were wishing to submit a thank you letter to the TIRZ board, but weren't able to get it in on time. So with y'all's permission, I can send that to Cherie and have her distribute that to all of you board members if you would like.
Okay. That'll be good. Thank you.
So the remaining projects that we've got in the south that are currently under construction include 19 West Beauregard, which is box hangar 210. That is an engineering firm. 40 West Tuig, which is the Spur building. 59 North Chadburn, which is Michelle Chapa. 109 North Chadburn, which is Concho Venue. And then 123 North Chadburn, which is Buffalo Soldier Art Gallery. And we also have 202 South Chadburn, 1 East Tuig Partnership, which is a law firm, and then 226 South A, which is Reyna's Tacos.
Mm-hmm.
As far as projects that have been completed in the south, as I believe I submitted this last time for Senior Chang's, but we were awaiting their final signage to be put on the building. So I wanted to show you all an after shot of that. So here are 2 of the signs that have been put up prior to the last, or since the last meeting. And then as far as the remaining projects in the north, as you will notice, the majority of these are actually the projects that were approved at the last board meeting. So we've got 2 projects at 124 West 4th Street, 1 at 124 West 8th Street. We've got the Shine Bright at 2302 North Bryant. Big O Auto at 2311 North Chadburn. We have 2 projects for Harvey Andrews, 2821 North Chadburn and 2829 North Chadburn, as well as the Dollar General, 2934 North Chadburn. And then 2 projects that were approved again at the last board meeting, the 3151 North Bryant, which is the Huddle House, and the 3251 North Bryant, which is the Kent Quick Travel Center.
Okay, have they started work on those 2 last projects?
As far as I know, they have not.
Okay.
No, I can address that. This is John James. They have submitted documents for site plan. That's currently in the review process for building permits.
Okay. You don't anticipate any problems, do you, John?
No, not that I've heard at this point. No.
Okay.
Okay, and that concludes all of the projects in progress, and I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding any of those projects.
Okay, you're not aware of any extraordinary issues or anything with any of them? Wait, you have a couple of down here in the agenda, but
Yes, sir. There are 3, I believe, that we will go over. 2 in particular that are asking for 2 in the north zone that are asking for an extension. Other than those 2, I don't have any concerns with the remaining projects that are in process.
Okay, well, let's move on then. If there's not any comments on the update discussion, let's go to Roman numeral 9 and consider a termination letter for Burlap and Paisley. Bring us up to date. What's going on there?
So I received a phone call several weeks ago from Tori Stubbs, who is the owner of Burlap and Paisley. And she stated that due to all the COVID and all the issues surrounding that they were uncertain if they were going to go ahead and pursue the renovations of their upstairs, which again was going to be some housing units. So she asked if she could essentially return the money that was awarded to her in the amount of $28,000 and just relinquish that money back to the TIRZ South Fund. So we had the agreement being executed on February 27th of this year. Once the agreement is executed and the letter to proceed signed, we do issue them the 10% upfront payment. In this case, it was $2,800. And again, she called, looks like this was back in July, and asked if we could mutually terminate the agreement due to the uncertainty of pursuing those improvements. Along with her request, she did go ahead and issue us the payment back in the amount of $2,800. And so we would just relinquish the 90% remaining of that funding amount that was approved back to the South TIRZ Fund. So we're asking that you approve the mutual termination of this agreement.
Okay. All right, do you need a motion to accept that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the termination of that agreement.
A motion.
Okay, Tony makes a motion.
A second. John Mark.
Okay, John Mark makes a second. Okay, any comments or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have extension letters. Roman numeral 10. For Harvey Andrews.
Yes, and Cherie, can you tell me if Harvey is on the Zoom call?
Ray,
He is not.
Okay.
he was sent the invitation to join.
Okay, so what I would like to do is kind of go over the timeline of both of these projects, as well as a current status update, and then let you all decide if you would like to request, or I'm sorry, approve an additional extension. So these are properties at 2821 and 2829 North Chadbourn. They're literally pretty much right next to each other. So again, we executed the agreements for both of these properties on July 18th of 17. As of July 1st of last year, which would have exceeded or was coming close to exceed their 2-year timeline in which to complete the projects, they requested an extension because the projects were not going to be completed, and you all did approve that extension until July 18th of this year. So we gave them an additional 1 year to complete the projects. So again, in keeping up with the status and checking in to see how these projects were progressing, I reached out to Harvey. He advised me that they were still not going to be completed. And per the agreement, the process that we have to follow essentially is a termination letter. Since it had exceeded again the additional extension timeline. So we sent him the termination letter and he had 30 days in which to either cure, as in complete the improvements, or ask for an additional extension. So that's what he has done in this case. He has requested an additional extension until December 20th of this year.
Okay.
So
Shannon,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
excuse me, Shannon, remind me, what are these buildings? I'm trying to get in mind what they are.
Yes, sir. So I actually went out last Thursday, I believe, and took current pictures of both of the buildings. So the first one on the left is the one at 2821, and the one on the right is at 2829. And just to give you all a reminder of what was approved in the amounts. So the one at 2821 was approved for $65,750, and that was for.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
How much was it? I'm sorry.
$65,750. And that was for facade, landscaping, and paving.
And intended use? The intended
Let's
use?
see. I believe it's currently being used as a restaurant.
Okay. Go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, and the one at 2829 was approved in the amount of $58,400. And that was also for facade, landscaping, and paving.
And intended use?
I believe that is going to be a gas station, or was a gas station. I'm not sure if it's
It
got,
was.
let's see. Not exactly sure what that future intended use is, but I can do some research and
Yeah, I can't remember, Stephen, what it's supposed to be, but it was in, when we approved it, it had a new intended use.
yes, sir. Let's see if I can pull it up.
Did you say what is delay is?
So in the extension letters that he requests, we ask what the current status is and then what the reason for the delay is. So for 2821, he claims that the improvements that have been made so far include a roof repair, interior ceiling, new floors, stucco, new exterior lights, and restrooms that have been updated. And the reason for the delay is he states that due to COVID and other projects we had ongoing, our crews were tied up and we are extremely embarrassed to ask for more time, but we have contracted Jason Chappell to finish all work and we'll be contracting Resalver to finish paving the lots. And then they have also a contractor for landscaping. And the same reasoning was given for the 2829 address. And as far as improvements that have been made to that facility, it includes exterior siding, restucco, painted, new metal roof, new floors, hydraulic lifts removed, and new exterior lights.
Shannon, do we make progress payments on these projects, or do we just give them the money up front and expect them to do the work?
So we give them 10% of what was approved up front, and that's
Right.
kind of to get them started on their project. And in order to receive that final 90% payment, again, they have to show us that they have done all the improvements as well as paid them, and of course, show us after pictures and all of that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have, these look like before pictures? Do we have any either current photographs of work that has been done? Or have we done any verification of what the report says of what that they've actually done the work that they say they have?
These pictures were taken last Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So these are the most current ones that we've got. I believe the only difference that I can tell from the original photos that were submitted to me was that the building on the right has been painted, and they have installed the new roof, as well as the building on the left with the new roof.
Okay.
But these are the photos as they are currently today.
Okay.
But Shannon, to follow up on John Mark's question, do we do any further inspections like of the interior to verify what he said he's done on the inside? Or
as far as interior work, we do not. We just ensure that everything that the TIRZ has approved funding for has been done. So in this case, facade work, landscaping, and paving. And as you can tell, some of those certain criteria have not been met.
So all the improvements to the building on the left that he said he's done inside, updated the restrooms and whatever, that was not TIRZ money.
No, sir.
Okay, that answers my question. Okay, so what is your recommendation?
As far as staff recommendation, we recommend not extending the contracts simply because there has been a lot more activity in the North Zone where more funding is needed to utilize those projects. And the fact that we've already that the board has already granted one extension. And this would be another approximately 5 or so months, 4 or so months to continue that. And I think the reasoning behind that is, yes, there have been improvements that have been made, but none of them in the form of what the TIRZ has approved. As far as the TIRZ incentives that were approved, really all that's been done has been some facade work. But as far as the paving, the landscaping, and then further facade work, those have not been met as of now.
So if we don't grant a further extension, we have a $124,000 of funds that are freed up.
Yes, sir. And he would be required to pay back the 10% for each of the buildings that was paid up front for those incentives.
6,500 and 5,800 roughly, yeah.
Yes, sir.
About $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, what do you think? Stephen, what do you think?
Me?
Yes, sir.
I think I smell something here, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know the gentleman. He's only asking for go to December. That's 4 months from now. 5.
Well, we've given him one extension.
I have a question.
And I'm not sure that he's not playing us a little bit. That's what I'm concerned about.
Okay. John Mark?
I have one question. Did Harvey give any reason why that he could not be here today to explain?
As far as I know, I spoke to him twice and let him know that we would be sending him the Zoom link to the call. And he said that he would attempt to be in attendance here. So it was in my opinion that he would be here to help discuss these projects.
He didn't give any information that there was any emergency or health issue or something like that?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Shannon, let me ask you, what if?
Sure.
If we do an extension and he doesn't meet the deal, what's the timeline? Let's say we don't do it till December 20th. Say we do it to November and we end it. What's the timeline do we get the money back to re-reward it so it would be available in January? What timeline do we have to set to give? If he doesn't do it, we get the money back available for January's award cycle.
Good question.
So essentially, as far as the 10% payment that we've already issued him, I'd have to contact our legal department. I think it's anywhere.
I'm not worried about the 10%. I'm talking about the major part, the 65,000 and 58,000 total. I'm not worried about the 10% getting back. I'm talking about the big chunks, the 90%.
Yeah. Shannon, I think I can answer that.
Okay.
This is John. Basically, that money has not been expended, so it's just set aside. So it would basically be available immediately. So as soon as you all either, if you reject it today or if you give them another 4 months, the day that expires, then that money is basically available.
It's encumbered in that 936 fund, isn't it, John?
Right, but
it's encumbered, but it's just a matter of filing a piece of paper in the city's finance office.
If we granted an extension and he doesn't meet it, whatever day that day is, whether it's December 20th or some day before that, December 20th, if he doesn't meet that criteria, then automatically the money's back available in our fund. So it would be in the January award cycle. Okay.
That's right. And I would urge you, if you're leaning towards extending it, one thing we've done in the past, what you could do is basically go ahead and include in your motion that this is the last extension. If you don't do that, and it's obviously your prerogative, if you don't do that, then they would be eligible to come back to you again and ask for another extension. You may want to allow that, but it just saves us from having to bring another item in December or January to have you formally revoke it. You could actually make that effective at the end of this extension if you grant one more.
Okay, I would entertain a motion from someone as to what your pleasure is.
If I could.
Yes.
Being someone on the board here that's basically been shut down and out of business for almost 6 months now, and just everything has happened within storms and you name it. And I would be inclined to maybe consider if the money's still there, 10% doesn't go a long ways. And you can see the roofs there alone probably. So he's already spent money. I would be inclined to lean toward the extension, but as a final, like I said, doing business right now, depending on what it is, if it is a restaurant or it's just something similar, it's a very difficult time.
Okay, so Tony, do you want to make a motion to what you want to do?
I think December 1st or whatever gives you guys time, give him a little more time perhaps. And if he can't get it done, then so be it. But that 90% is still sitting there to be used on top of money that still is available, Yeah. It's not like if it was in the South, it might be a little different, but I don't know. Because there is money available in the South, you got people begging for it. And the North, we're trying to get more people involved. So It's been a rough time. And I tell you, I'm sitting here it's a very hard time for all of us, especially, speaking for myself. We've been basically shut down without much of anything for 6 months. And I can't imagine, if I'm the only one it's happening to.
Okay.
Shannon, would you have any knowledge at all that roof might have been replaced by insurance and storms?
That I don't think so. I think that that roof had been replaced prior to the first extension request.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me go to Greg. You made some good comments. Greg, can you make a motion for us and go along with what Tony's advocating, that we would maybe extend this up until
I'll make a motion that we give a final extension granting his request through December 20th, but we will not make any further extensions. That he get the work complete by December 20th, or he will forfeit his grant.
Okay. Tony, can I get a second from you?
I'll make it a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, we have one opposed. Motion carries. All right. Director's report.
I really just have one thing. The governor has extended the disaster declaration until, I believe, September 7th. So we're still, as we have been every month, we're still in a wait and see. The governor tends to extend those in 30-day increments. And so as of right now, we don't know if our next board meeting will be in person or by Zoom again. I suspect he'll extend it again. I suspect we'll be meeting like this for the coming few months at least, but we don't know that and we won't know it. So just keep an eye out. We'll let you know by email once we know as we send out future notices for meetings, but we likely won't find out at least for another couple of weeks.
Okay. Does anyone have any future agenda items for the next meeting they want to mention at this time? All right, I appreciate John and Shannon and Cherie and all of your staff putting these Zoom meetings together. Of everybody that's on this meeting, I'm the least technologically adept person, so I appreciate all of you putting this together and making it work. So our next meeting will be September 22nd, and we will advise you as to whether it will be a Zoom meeting or we'll try to do it in person. All right. Does anyone else have any other comments?
I have a question, John.
Yes.
Have y'all had a chance for the staff to start looking at some viable means to improve 4th Street?
We have discussed that. Yeah, and that's it's one of those things, the more you dig into it, the more, I guess, problems that pop up. But there are a lot of issues with ownership and where the lines are. But yes, that's definitely on our radar and we're looking into that.
On your radar, can you perhaps give me a time frame when you might be able to give a report to the board?
I can try to bring a report at the next meeting. Some of that's.
I'm not trying to push you. I'm just saying, give yourself enough time. I'd like to know if it's possible, what kind of source of funds could be used and could be utilized, and what the recommendation of the staff is, how we accomplish it.
Yeah, and the reason I can't say for sure is that largely that falls on some other departments within the city. So
Right.
I can't speak to their timing, but what I can try to do is at least have an update for you at the next meeting on what we talked about, what a status is.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, Stephen, I share your concern. John, remind me, is that northern tiers or southern tiers?
North.
Yeah,
North.
I believe it is north,
Okay.
which helps with
All right,
that
good.
funding being available.
Great. Michael, it's good to have you with us. You take care of yourself and continue to improve.
I appreciate that, Jim, very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank
You
you.
take care of yourself. All right. Hearing no other comments, I will announce this meeting is adjourned. Thank each of you for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
On my screen.
Oh, I'm on here at the bottom.
That's about right.
So yeah, we still have a
Shirley, can you stop the YouTube? It looks like we switched over to where Fort used to be. I'm sorry, I said Shirley, I meant Evelyn.